What up, Drewskis? Andrew here from the Power of Drew, and the Panasonic GH5s is one of my most favorite cameras. I've had some great times with the thing. I've actually had some better times. I laughed and cried through all the autofocusing changes I tried to apply. Got to play with so many firmware updates as Panasonic tried to correct the autofocusing. I just overall love the image coming out of that camera. Then I got the Fuji X-T4, this guy. This is also a fantastic camera, and I think I love this thing so much just because the adventure I went on to get it. If you've been watching the channel, then you know the whole gray market saga thing I had to go on. But that got me a bit divided. I love the X-T4, and you know I love the Panasonic GH5s, and I'm kind of torn on which one has a better image. So that got me thinking. We need an image battle. Alright, and just like that, the image battle has commenced. These are the two cameras. So we got camera A right here on the left, we got camera B right here on the right. Look at both the images here. They look like they're doing pretty good. If anything, this one looks a little bit more exposed than this one. I don't know if that's just the LCD, but my eyes to these cameras, that's what I'm seeing right now. So if you haven't caught on to one of my previous image battles, this is how I do them. So I will kick off with a few of the specs that these cameras are sharing. I'll give you some time to throw in what camera you think is which in the comments below. Then I'll reveal, and then we'll discuss. Simple, easy. All right, so right off the bat, both these cameras are shooting in 10-bit. They both have similar ISOs, shooting 640. Now, I have tried to calibrate both of these lenses so that they're similar. They're not going to be dead ringers, but they're similar. They're similar. Really what we're looking for here is just the image itself and which one you like better. Now, the GH5s, as I've said before, is one of my most favorite cameras. It just produces a great image, and unlike some other YouTubers and reviewers, I actually really enjoy the Panasonic image. And I don't understand the people that don't like the image, to tell you the truth. I think it's pretty cinematic, and I think they've done a great job. On top of that, the GH5s is seriously a camera that is under the budget that it should be at, shooting in what I think is probably near cinema grade. So the sensor is a micro four thirds, and it is low megapixel, which is what you want in a cinema camera. You want low megapixels, you want really that best low light image that you can get out of it, and that's what you're getting in the GH5s. Contrast to that with the Fuji shooting at a larger sensor size, an APS-C, but with a higher megapixel count. And that's kind of funny because you would think that this larger sensor would have better low light than the micro four thirds camera, but since the megapixels are lower in the GH5s, it has actually larger megapixels, and so those larger megapixels are able to capture more light than the smaller megapixels of this Fuji counterpart. Besides that, the image that the Fuji captures is definitely unique. People will compare it to a Canon or an Olympus, and I see that, but more so, I see this grit, this grime. It's weird because it has very rich colors, but those colors aren't necessarily bright colors. I kind of put them as muted or bold, I think the correct term would be, versus some other cameras which give you more of a, I hate to say bright, but bright colors in a different sense of just being more lit, right? Anyways, so we got 10-bit shooting in both of these cameras, and both these cameras are shooting in their log mode. So that's V-Log-L on the Panasonic, and that is F-Log on the Fuji. And both of these log formats grade very well. They're very easy to use, and I think people like them for that for that reason. Vlog L is the light version of Vlog, but it's muted. I mean, I would probably put it into like an in-between a C-Log 2 and a C-Log 3. But that said, so, you know, we got 10-bit. They're both shooting in log. Both of these cameras can shoot in HLG. Cool. Obviously, one is a micro four thirds or a multi-aspect sensor, so that's cropped at 1.8 versus a 1.53 crop on the Fuji. So it's similar sensor sizes, and I want to go on to the bodies of these cameras, right? So they're both kind of a DSL shaped bodies. I will say though that the GH5s has buttons that I think are more geared to the video shooter. So you'll see buttons that are labeled ISO or white balance, and I think just handling the camera is easier on the GH5s. And maybe that's subjective, right? Teach their own. I mean, the Fuji, on the other hand, its camera, I like to call it the hipster of cameras, right? Like, it just looks good holding the camera. You throw a leather jacket on it, and you just look like somebody that will fit in frame with whatever you're wearing. Like, it's a good-looking camera externally. And luckily, internally, it shoots a good image too, right? Beauty is on the inside, right? That's what they say, anyways. So both these cameras can shoot in 120, 1080. They can go higher than that too, but usually the image starts looking a little like mush, especially on both of these cameras, actually. Yeah. So at that point, you know, I've given you some hints. Do you think you got it? Which is your favorite look coming out of each one of these cameras? I haven't thrown it into my NLE yet, which is Final Cut, but right off the bat, I'm really liking the look of what's coming out of this camera right here. Even though, at least from the LCD, it does look a little dimmer on the exposure than what's coming out of this camera. But, yeah, I'll give you guys some seconds. Throw it down in the comments if you want to. Pause the video. Do what you need to do. But here we go. All right. Fuji's right here. Camera B. Looking really sharp. Love the look. And camera A, obviously, is the GH5s. Did you get it? Did you think you got it? It always surprises me in these image battles just how well a micro four thirds camera can handle up to a camera that is competing against something that has a larger sensor. It just shows you that larger is not necessarily better, right? Yeah, very, very interested in these. So both of these cameras are great to use, and I think they're used for different purposes. So when I always recommend a camera, right, the first thing you're asking is, what are you using for? Is it photography or is it video? And I think if you have the money, you always want to buy two cameras, right? You buy a camera specifically for video and buy a camera specifically for photography. And if you don't have that much, well, you get a hybrid. And that's where the Fuji will benefit you the most. If you need a hybrid, then definitely go with the Fuji. But if you want something specifically for video, then you're going to want to go for the GH5s. However, the Fuji is 2 years newer, so it will benefit for hopefully 2 years newer technology. But that hasn't been always true in the past. We have seen older cameras beat newer cameras, right? It's just how well the camera has built camera. It just has how well a company has built that camera. Another thing that I want to tell you guys is if the autofocus has went off on the Panasonic here, it's because it's shooting through a speed booster. Now, having a smaller sensor, you do get the benefit of having more lenses to pick out of and speed boosting these larger lenses. So that's a good thing. Yeah, super interested on this one. I was waiting to get this video done, so thank you guys for watching. Other than that, let me know what you guys think. What's your favorite camera? Do you own a Fuji X-T4? Do you own a GH5s? Do you want to own any of them? If you have any questions about them, throw it down in the comments below. I'm always searching for your guys' questions or banter or arguments or opinions. I love them. Other than that, guys, as always, you know I respect you. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.